Jaden Ivey came out of high school in 2020 as a 4-star recruit and committed to Purdue. At the time, Ivey was just the 79th ranked prospect overall and the 17th ranked shooting guard. Ivey started his freshman season coming off the bench for the Boilermakers, but gradually worked his way into a larger and larger role, becoming a starter about halfway through the season. He flashed some potential, including a 26-point performance in the NCAA tournament, but ultimately he didn't put up eye-popping stats on the season and returned to Purdue for his sophomore year. This season, Ivey has upped both his production and his efficiency as a scorer, and is now being looked at as a potential top 5 pick. Ivey's biggest strength as a player is his speed and athleticism. Jaden Ivey is a very exciting player to watch, because anytime he gets the ball he seems to believe it's time to run a fast break. But in fairness, he's so fast that sometimes he is able to just run past everyone on the break. It's not just the speed for Ivey though, he's also an explosive athlete vertically. Ivey uses this to his advantage by throwing down vicious dunks, snatching rebounds away from larger players, and hanging in the air long enough to finish tough layups. Ivey is extremely dangerous in the open floor, but also in the half-court with his speed because he doesn't need much of an opening to blow past the defender for a look at the basket. As a defender, you cannot afford to get caught flat-footed defending Ivey, or else he's blowing by you and dunking it. Ivey will have no issue matching NBA-level athleticism, no matter what team picks him. Ivey's next strength is his vision as a passer. While Ivey is more of a shooting guard than a point guard, he certainly has the vision to shift over and play the point when needed. Ivey is able to read the floor rapidly while on the move and find teammates with accurate passes to set them up to score. With his ability to get into the lane and draw defensive attention, it's a valuable skill for him to have that he can quickly dissect what the defense is doing and know where the open teammate is. The assist numbers aren't outstanding for Ivey, but it's clear that he sees things that other players cannot as a playmaker. Ivey's skills as a playmaker will be valuable to any team that drafts him. Not only does he have the capability to run the offense for stretches, but when he's not, you still have an extra playmaker on the floor that can create good shots for his teammates. One final strength for Ivey is his shooting. This one was a little tough for me to list as a strength. Ivey has a low release on his shot and also doesn't get much lift. But when he is able to get enough space to get his shot off, he's been deadly as a shooter. This is great for shooting off the catch, but Ivey has also shown the ability to create space for himself to get his shot off. Ivey will use his speed to get a defender backpedaling, then hit them with a step-back jump shot. The best defenders can keep their balance and still put up a shot contest at least. For the most part though, this move gives Ivey enough space to get his shot away. And once he's able to do that, he's shown that he is very capable of knocking down open looks. I think there's a world where Ivey struggles at first as a shooter at the NBA level, but with the touch that he has, I think he will ultimately figure it out. One weakness for Jaden Ivey is his decision making. As we covered earlier, Ivey for the most part has very good vision as a passer. But despite this, he will still make some poor decisions on the offensive end of the floor. There are times when it seems like Ivey gets a little too confident in his ability to beat anyone to the basket, or just tries to do a bit too much. He'll drive into a crowd and force up tough shots when it would be easier for him just to kick it out to a teammate. Overall, Ivey is still an efficient scorer despite this weakness, but Ivey will have to learn to use his teammates more consistently in the NBA, or else teams can just load up on him knowing that he's more likely to force up a shot than kick it out to a teammate. One other weakness for Ivey is he plays too aggressively on the defensive end of the floor at times. A big reason why Ivey is so fun to watch is because he plays with the pedal pressed to the floor at all times. While this is fun, there are moments where it becomes a detriment on the defensive end. He'll pick up silly fouls playing too aggressively for a steal, or he'll decide to take a risk to try to force a turnover or get a block and leave his man uncovered. In college, he is able to get away with this a bit more because he's so much more athletic than a lot of guys. But at the NBA level, players are more athletic and also smarter. If they know Ivey is going to play too aggressively on defense, NBA players will find a way to exploit that. Watching Ivey play the way he does is fun, and I don't want him to stop playing hard, but there are times he needs to learn to take his foot off the gas just a bit. This first clip gives us a look at Ivey's speed and explosiveness as an athlete. The play starts with Ivey covering his man standing in the corner. When the NC State player drives to the basket from the elbow, Ivey flies in and swats the layup attempt away. He then turns on the speed and races out in front of everyone. His teammate throws the pass up ahead to him and he skies for the two-handed slam. Ivey seems to make highlight-worthy plays like this every game. It will be exciting to see how his athleticism and speed looks in the NBA. This next clip displays some of Ivey's passing vision. The play starts with Ivey receiving the inbound pass in the corner. He then uses a screen to get to his left and into the lane while his teammate rolls into the dunker spot. Ivey continues to attack the basket and draws the attention of literally the entire defense. He then gets into the air and easily drops it off to his teammate for the dunk. Ivey will be a valuable playmaking option in the NBA if he is able to continue leveraging his athleticism and vision to create open shots for teammates. This last clip gives us an example of Ivey being too aggressive chasing the ball. The play starts with Ivey at the line. He misses the free throw and an Iowa player tips it out towards the sideline. As he is corralling the rebound, Ivey comes flying in like a wrecking ball and runs him over trying to get the ball back. He gets whistled for the foul. This is a situation where Ivey needs to learn to throttle it down a little and not pick up a cheap foul. He can still maintain his intensity, he just needs to learn how to use it correctly. Jaden Ivey is one of the most exciting players in the 2022 NBA draft class. His explosive athleticism, coupled with his skill set as a basketball player, makes him a very enjoyable player to watch. The future for Ivey is bright at this time. The biggest potential pitfall I see for Ivey is the potential that his shot doesn't translate to the NBA. While we do see high-caliber athletes turn into stars without a jump shot at the NBA level, the path is significantly harder, especially for guards. We see a fair number of players get drafted because of their incredible upside and athleticism, and then they just can't quite live up to the hype because their shot doesn't translate and they aren't able to score at a high level consistently. For Ivey, I don't believe this will be the path. He's skilled with the ball in his hands and has displayed some nice touch on his jump shot despite the funky form. I only bring this up because it's a path that needs to be considered when evaluating Ivey. The more likely scenario, in my opinion, is Ivey becomes a valuable starter with star potential. If this is the case, he'll be a lot of fun to watch for a long time in the NBA. My NBA comp for Jaden Ivey is prime Russell Westbrook. Westbrook has kind of entered the meme portal with his play on the Lakers this season, but back in the Thunder days, Westbrook was an explosive athlete that gave defenses fits with his constant attacks on the basket, plus his vision as a passer and ability to rebound. Ivey is looking like the shooting guard version of this player at this time.